This time I'd like to call the South Union Township regular monthly meeting for November to order. We'll have an opening prayer, we'll have a silent prayer, please stand in the Pledge of Allegiance. Do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go to item number 4 on our agenda, roll call. Mr. Schiffbauer?
Here.
Mr. Scott?
Here.
Mr. Vernon's here too. Roadmaster's report, I'll handle that one. Our Roadmaster's report for the month of October. Our men worked on a Mulberry project where we lost our part of a wall off of Mulberry, also our bridge. We worked on it 6 days. I think we're about ready to open it back up in the next couple of days. Worked on Sheepskin Trail 7 days for the month of October. We hauled compost 11 different days in the month of October. We used a tractor in our township 6 days. Our guys cleaned the inlets out 4 different days, all the leaves away from the top of the inlets. We trimmed a tree on Clareton Avenue that was blocking traffic. We weeded the Frank Hauser Park at the intersection of Route 40 and Hopwood Fair Chance Road. We worked on at 411 Dev Drive, that's in Craig Meadows. They have a drainage problem, and Mr. Scott took a couple guys over and was able to put some stone in and replanted the grass, and so far we're in good shape over there. We replaced a large pipe on McKnight Hill Road in Big Brownfield. On Woodward, we went to top of where we routed the water runoff so it wouldn't go down onto the properties off of Buttermilk Lane. We whacked around the guardrails also in the township. We milled and amosized the following roads: Wilmack Street, Worldy Drive, 3 spots on Redstone Furnace Road, Leona Street, in front of 237 Monroe Street off of Redstone Furnace Road. We did Furnace Road, Doyle Street, Fireman Drive, right by the fire department in South Union. We did 3 spots on Albert Street in Craig Meadows, Bryson Boulevard, intersection with Route 40. We did 2 spots on Dual Drive in the Bryson plan. Walnut Avenue from the Ambets up to Sunrise, we did about 3 or 4 spots there. We milled and amosized Kramer Avenue, Railroad Street, and at the intersection of Route 40 and William Smith Drive. We patched Metro Plaza and Morgantown Road, and we did a patch on Brownfield Lane. And we tied in driveways at 307 Dixon Boulevard in the corner of Dixon and Wiggins Lane, and we patched in front of 64 Brownfield Road's driveway. That concludes my Roadmaster's report. If you have anything to add, Mr. Schiffbauer?
Nothing further.
Mr. Scott? Nothing. Okay. Let's go on to item number 6 on our agenda, the Sewage Department report. Mr. Scott?
During the month of October, we had our intern who's there 3 days a week on work study, finishing our GIS system for the township. His progress on that is about 90% complete. He should be done by the end of November. We still have 11 recycling fees that are outstanding. We did collect 1 since last month, so if you are receiving the bills monthly, please pay your recycling fee. I told you before about a study that the Greater Uniontown Joint Sewage Authority is doing. We did receive the manhole study. All the GIS for all the manholes in the city, North Union and South Union, are all complete. The next step would be to start cleaning and videoing all the interceptor lines so they can do a model study on it to see why we're backing up when we get the big rains. So hopefully I have something next month to report on that. We have the regrouting of lines in Heritage Hills that we had done 2 years ago, and they were warrantied, and a couple of them failed. We're waiting for the contractor to come up and repair those at no charge to us. He said that they would try to be done by the end of November. Route 21, we were preparing to install the 3rd pump and change all the electrical control panels out there. We got all that in place. That should be done by the end of the year. We should have that complete. And that should complete the Route 21 pump station. We are also in the process of recounting our EDUs. That's how we bill our sewage. Each house is one EDU. Where it gets complicated are the businesses or the mixed use. So we are out counting to make sure that ours are correct, and also at the same time doing checks and balances with North Union and the city of Uniontown to make sure everyone's on a level playing field. So that will be going on in the next 2 months approximately. And we also had a power outage at the Route 21 pump station on October 27th due to an auto accident. But the new generator that we refabbed worked great. Everything kept up and running. And I believe that's all I have to report for the month of October.
Mr. Shepherd, anything you'd like to add? Thank you, Mr. Scott. Let's go over now to item number 7 on our agenda, Code Enforcement Officer's Report. I'll handle that one. For the month of October, for our Code Enforcement Report, before I start, again, we have one full-time officer who works 7 to 3:30 daily, Monday through Friday, and we have one who works part-time, about 25 to 30 hours a week on the day. And we have 3 part-time officers who work in the evenings and on weekends. Our full-time officer traveled 2,310 miles, and our part-time officer traveled 1,879 miles for a total of 4,189 miles traveled throughout the township. Again, all we can be is the eyes and ears for the state police. If we see something, we have to call the state police barracks, and then they handle our code enforcement. For the month of October, letters sent out for property repairs by our officers was 8. 6 of those were for condemning 6 mobile home units in the Huggins Trailer Court. We had 1 burning complaint against you can burn on Saturdays from 8 to 5 daily. That's all on Saturday. Got to be out by 5 o'clock, and it must be a controlled blaze, means they have someone there watching it. High grass and weeds, which we allow 10 inches or below. We had 5 of those went out. We had 27 garbage account complaints, went out warnings, but that is if under our contract with Advanced Disposal, if your bill goes over $100, we have to enforce the contract by first we send you a letter out giving you a warning to contact them and pay it, make arrangements. And if that doesn't work, then we have to file citation with our local district judge office. Parking complaints, we had none this time. Citations issued throughout by our officers was 17. We had 2 fire lane tickets given out, and 1 handicap given out. That concludes my report. If you have anything else, Mr. Shepard?
Nothing further.
Mr. Scott?
No, sir.
Okay. Let's go over to item number 8. Motion to approve minutes of the previous meeting. We have a motion on that.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of last month's meeting.
Mr. Shepard, do we have a second?
I'll second Mr. Shepard's
By
motion.
Mr. Scott, thank you. And questions on the motion? Roll call, Mr. Shepard.
Yes.
And Mr. Scott.
Yes.
And Mr. Vernon, yes. Motion carries. Comment on the agenda items. Any comments on the agenda items? None? We move on to number 10. We have a special guest that we invited to come to our meeting. He started out his profession here, and then he left and come back now as the commander of the State Police Barracks. I'd like to introduce Lieutenant Stephen Dallin of the State Police to Uniontown Barracks. Lieutenant, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Vernon. As Mr. Vernon had indicated, I did start my state police career here in Uniontown after graduating the Pennsylvania State Police Academy. I was assigned to the Uniontown station about 16 years ago, and I spent
How many years ago?
16.
It's a long time.
So I've spent several years here as a trooper. Later I moved on to the Washington station. I subsequently got promoted to corporal, came back, and was a shift supervisor here as a corporal, got promoted to sergeant. Basically every rank I've held at the Uniontown station here. So it's a great pleasure. Like Mr. Vernon indicated, I'm now the station commander of the Uniontown station. I took over for now Captain Jeff Fisher on February 18th of this year. And I'm proud of the men and women at the Uniontown station. They do a tremendous job on a daily basis protecting our communities, which obviously includes South Union Township. Obviously, one of the main goals for the state police is to make sure that we have as many troopers as we can in our communities. That's our main goal, so that citizens on a daily basis see a patrol vehicle driving through their neighborhoods and know that there's somebody out there protecting and serving them. So that's one of our main focuses. As most of the township supervisors here are aware, sometimes you feel like you're up against a wall when you are plugging different holes, whether it be roadway patches or for the township, or in our particular case, speeding on a different road and so on and so forth. We only have so many troopers to put in different places, and we're covering the entire county, but I believe our men and women do an incredible job, and like I said, on a daily basis to provide a service to our community, and I'm proud of them. Another initiative that we have started is a school initiative. Every week there's a uniformed trooper walking through every public school in our county now. I just want the citizens of Fayette County to realize that we as the state police care about our most valuable asset, which I believe is our children, and that there's some presence out there, and hopefully that deters anything from taking place at those schools. It also builds some relationships with not only the faculty of those schools and administrators, but the children as well. So we're obviously commercial motor vehicles throughout the county, and including South Union Township, are an issue. Sometimes, unfortunately, commercial vehicles that are overweight cause obviously damage to our roadways and so on and so forth. As of August 31st of this year, our MIXAP team, which is comprised of one trooper and 2 motor carrier enforcement officers, have conducted 1,684 inspections, placed 355 trucks out of service, and issued 2,919 violations. So another initiative that we've taken on at the barracks is what we consider the Move Over Initiative, which state law requires motorists driving on a highway, such as State Route 40 or 119, if there's an emergency vehicle, whether that be a state police vehicle, whether that be an EMS ambulance vehicle or a fire truck, to move over into the left-hand travel lane if available, if not, at least slow down. So we're conducting initiatives to enforce that law by having multiple troopers in a specific area looking for those violations itself. So obviously the opiate epidemic is a big issue for everyone in South Union Township, as well as the county, and even the Commonwealth, as well as the entire country at this point in time. We established what we considered a patrol impact team this year. As of, again, August, they made 37 misdemeanor arrests, 22 felony arrests. They've taken 19 fugitives off the street and cultivated 27 informants, meaning that those are type of individuals that are providing us additional information about criminal activity that we're further investigating. The station as a whole has seized approximately 2 kilos of cocaine, over 168 grams of heroin, which is equivalent to over 5,500 stamp bags of heroin, over 26 kilograms of marijuana, seized over $114,000 in cash, 21 handguns, 9 rifles, and an automatic rifle as well. We've also dismantled 2 meth labs through the course of our drug investigations. And again, this is a multi-faceted approach by not only our vice unit, which does an incredible job in an undercover capacity, but as indicated, our patrol members, specifically our patrol impact team, targeting those type of drug violations in our communities, trying to make our community a safer place. We've also conducted 2 warrant details this year, one back in June and one recently just last month. The one in June we took 42 fugitives off the streets. And this one most recently, I believe we took 26 fugitives off the street of Fayette County. That again was a multi-agency detail incorporating law enforcement entities from throughout the county, Uniontown City Police Department, Collinsville City Police Department, the Fayette County Sheriff's Department, Masontown Police Department, and so on. So we're trying to utilize our media outlets as well to inform the public of any rash and crime, specifically if there's any car break-ins in a specific area, that we're notifying the media to alert our citizens to those types of crimes so that they can take proactive measures, such as obviously locking their car doors, keeping their lights on, keeping their doors at home locked and secured, and also obviously being diligent. The reality of things is we as the police can't do our job without the citizens of South Union Township and throughout the county here as a whole. You guys are our eyes and ears of things, and we need your cooperation to make your community a safer place and our community a safer place. So, specifically, just for your purposes, again, up to through August, the Uniontown Station has responded to 11,835 incidents throughout the county.
That's one of your biggest, it's one of the biggest years ever, right?
Yes, it's a 11% increase compared to last year and a 20% increase compared to the year before that. So it's pretty significant. Again, that's throughout the county as a whole. Burglaries are actually down right now, about 11%. Thefts are actually down 18%. Retail thefts, unfortunately, are on the rise, about 11%. And specifically South Union Township, that's one of the, obviously there's a lot of shopping locations and the township itself, and that's one of the hot spots in South Union Township. We've actually responded to 89 retail theft, investigated 89 retail theft cases thus far this year in South Union Township alone. Specifically in South Union, we've responded to 446 incidents this year. Again, the majority of those are not of significant crimes. Again, 89 retail thefts, 37 reportable crashes. Reportable crash is obviously when somebody's actually either party involved in a crash is either injured or a vehicle is not drivable from that scene. So we also responded to 18 thefts, 9 criminal mischiefs, and 3 burglaries, just to name a few within the township thus far this year. So just to kind of give you a snapshot of what's happening within the township itself and kind of what we as the state police are trying to do to make the township a little bit safer place to live and raise your children.
You tell, we're having a rash of calls about not breaking into cars, unlocked cars. Is that still going on?
Yeah, the majority of the car break-ins are a crime of opportunity per se, meaning that these individuals are looking for and checking car doors, and as soon as they open up a car door that's open, they're seizing the opportunity, taking whatever that is a quick, whether there's change in the cup holder, whether there's an iPad somewhere, or a telephone, or jewelry, or whatever that's on the passenger seat of the vehicle. Or, but obviously, we encourage everybody to lock their car door, no matter how long they're going to be away from their vehicle, whether it just be for a couple minutes, whether you run into the sheets, or whether you're parking overnight at your residence. So.
Is there a number that our residents could call to more or less be anonymous on like a to report drug activity or something like that? I get a lot of calls like, there's a drug dealer living in my neighborhood. How can't they, find him? And I know I've talked to, Jeff Fisher before, and how hard it is to actually, find out what they're doing. Yeah, we can look across the street and say, hey, something's going on here, but to actually convict them of the crime is a process. But
I'll answer that question in 2 parts. First, there's definitely two numbers to contact. You can obviously contact the State Police Barracks in Uniontown and remain anonymous and provide us information. We're also work with Fayette County Crime Stoppers, and you can contact them and provide them information as well. And that information comes to us, and then we further investigate. I want to assure the citizens of South Union Township that we are actively pursuing drug violations throughout the county as a whole, and specifically South Union Township. Again, that is a multifaceted approach. There are a lot of investigations that are ongoing that the general public doesn't see in an undercover capacity. Again, we're cultivating informants through some uniform capacity where you may or may not see somebody stopping a vehicle or knocking at a door in a uniform capacity, but there's a lot of operations going on throughout the county and specifically South Union Township on a daily basis that, trying to again take those drug dealers off the streets.
Right. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Mr. Burrows, you like to?
Well, I saw the lieutenant earlier before our meeting, and we've always maintained our constant watch on crime statistics in South Union Township, especially the serious type of crimes, and we've been doing that for years to try to detect if there's any trends that we should be aware of, and I'm sure the state police would be aware of if they start to materialize. But we're trying to get those figures back online. I guess there's been some changes in the system in which they reported, but we find that information quite helpful, and we certainly want to know what's going on within the boundaries of South Union Township.
Absolutely, and as indicated in our earlier conversation, I believe it is of utmost importance to provide you as township supervisors and the citizens of South Union Township with that information, so that you guys have that at your fingertips, so that you can make judgments. Again, we as the state police continually monitor and evaluate crime trends through various manners of doing so. On a daily and weekly basis in regards to and allocate resources to specific areas that may be seeing an increase in one specific type of crime.
And to follow that up, I just would like to say one thing that, as always, we've been we feel very lucky to have the services of the state police providing us protection in South Union Township, in the most professional body actually within the world. We're very lucky to have troopers of your quality and your men and women at the barracks and throughout the state of Pennsylvania. And unlike some people, particularly some of our professional football and basketball players who seem to be idiots and lost somewhere out in space, but we appreciate you, and our motto is Blue Lives Matter in South Union Township.
Again, we appreciate your support, and we appreciate the community support as a whole. Again, we are part of the community, and we're here for the community.
And just one further thing, I like the way one of the NFL owners summed it up by saying that the inmates are running the prison in the NFL.
Commander, I want to thank you for coming out to our meeting today and sharing your thoughts with us. And you don't have to be excused because this isn't a courtroom. You may stay if you like, or you can. I know you're busy at the barracks. But thanks for taking time out for us.
I appreciate the invite. So, again, if you folks need anything as township supervisors, or I urge the citizens of South Union Township, if they need anything, have a question, contact the state police here.
We're not backward. We will. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
Lieutenant Allen. Let's go on to number 11. This is Mr. Schiffauer's baby. We've had so many contacts about this, how great it is. We signed the checks, and Jason did some work with you, but it was your game plan, and we appreciate that.
Well,
You want to give us an upgrade on it then?
on the sheepskin trail, I just would like to add that we're still tying some loose ends up as far as the trail goes, and we recently completed erecting railing along 4 of our bridges. We actually have 4 streams that our trail traverses, and they were very professionally designed, and our workers did an outstanding job in the installation of the railing. And there's a few other things that we have to do, but we're getting pretty close to completing the entire trail and all the work.
Anything, Mr. Scott, like to add?
Nothing. Thank you.
Okay. Let's go on to number 12. Motion to approve the proposed budget for the fiscal year. This will be a tentative budget we're proposing. Any questions on that? Do you have any motions to approve the tentative budget?
Well, before we do that, I'd just like to comment after looking at it, and it is here for the public's scrutiny to check it over before we make any final decisions on it. But it appears with the prudent manner in which we run the township with our finances that will not be any increase in our real estate tax as it has been now for well over 40 plus years. And I think that's something to be proud of. Too bad our Congress can't say the same thing, but we believe in a certain degree of fiscal concern and fiscal responsibility when it comes to spending the taxpayers' dollars.
Okay. Also, presently our tax, real estate tax is 0.6%. If you use $100,000 assessment of your house, you're only paying the township $60 a year. So we get blamed for the school tax and the county tax. Ours is one of the lowest, if not the lowest in the county. At that time, if not, then we need a motion to approve the proposed budget, tentative budget, and that would be general government would be $610,318. Our public safety expenditures would be $239,816. Our recycling and trash collection is $86,200. Our highway would be $1,701,092. Our recreation expenditure would be $275,235, and miscellaneous expenditures would be $651,823, and our sewage department would be $1,887,775. So that would be a total for a township would be, minus the sewage would be $3,564,489, and our sewage expenditure would be $1,887,775. And we have a motion to approve the tentative proposed budget.
I'll make a motion that we approve the proposed tentative budget for 2018.
Okay, we have a second.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Scott. Any questions on the motion? We'll call Mr. Schiffmeyer.
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
Mr. Vernon. Motion carries.
You know, perhaps our school board members could go back to school and take a class on what the meaning of restraint is when it comes to taxes.
Okay, comments from the public. Do we have any? None? Financial statement, Mr. Treasurer, Mr. Schiffmeyer.
Okay. From the general fund checking, $307,682.12. General fund invested, $304,460.45. State fund, $374,066.97. Hydrant fund, $6,160.40. Athletic fund, $8,114.25. Payroll fund, $4,557.29. The Sheepskin Trail, $15,441.16. The North Union, South Union Intergovernmental Board Fund, $22,728.33. And for a total from the Road Department, $1,079,902.14. From the Sewage Fund, a total of $1,935,394.23, and for a grand total from the Township Road Department and the Sewage Department, $3,015,296.37.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Treasurer, Mr. Schiffmeyer. Let's go on to item number 15. Motion to pay all current bills. Our Secretary, Mr. Scott.
I'll make a motion that we pay the current bills. From the North Union, South Union Intergovernmental Board Fund, $5,350. From the State Fund, $15,599.45. From the Sheepskin Trail Fund, $5,310.66. From the hydrant fund, $3,679.87. From the athletic fund, $2,390. From the sewage fund, $232,215.18. And from the general fund, $260,346.56. That's my motion to pay the current bills.
Motion by Mr. Scott, do we have a second?
I'll second Mr. Scott's
Second
motion.
by Mr. Schiffer. Any question on the motion? Roll call, Mr. Scott.
Yes.
Mr. Schiffer.
Yes.
Mr. Berry, yes, motion carries. Let's go on to number 16, our engineer from K2, President John Over. Anything to add for us this month?
Just an update on the projects that are ongoing down off of Stadium Drive. The Morgan excavating project with the new storm sewer lines, he's probably about 90% complete with the project. You got a few more issues to take care of before the second contractor, so that we don't have a conflict of contractors and working in the same area can move in and do the parking lot down at the ball field down there. So that is being completed and should be done prior to the plant's closing this year. The second contractor said he has about 2 to 3 weeks worth of work, so he should be able to get out of there and get it paid before the plant's closed for this year. The other issue I'd just like to mention, since you brought up the budget for South Union Township, the Greater Joint Sewage Authority, at their last meeting, they presented their tentative budget, and there is going to be no impact back to the entities relative to their budget. They're going to maintain their cost at the plant also. And that's all I have.
Nothing new to entertain us with?
Nothing.
Nothing coming in?
Unfortunately not. So I wish I could say that Amazon's moving in.
Not yet, huh? Okay, anything else you guys want to ask the engineer? Okay, number 17, our solicitor, James Davis, of Davis and Davis.
The only thing I have to report would be that the Tower Access Group did file an appeal to the Commonwealth Court of Judge Cordero's decision, affirming the decision of the Zoning Hearing Board. So we will be participating in that appeal. It's in its infancy, so there's nothing other than the filing of the docket statement and the decision of the Common Pleas Court to the Commonwealth Court. Any questions? I might.
That'd take a long time, Mr. Davis.
It could, and you know, the thing about the Commonwealth Court, I'm not exactly sure if they'll hear it as an entire panel or we'll have a smaller panel. It's still a little early for that, but typically the entire court hears those cases.
That concludes your solicitor's report?
It does, unless someone has a question.
Good. Okay, next item, number 18. Mr. Scott has a time for us.
Make a motion that we adjourn at 4:34 p.m.
Motion by Mr. Scott, do we have a second?
I'll second Mr. Scott's motion.
Mr. Schiffer. Any questions on the motion? Roll call. Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Schiffer?
Yes.
And Mr. Berry, yes. Motion carries. This meeting is now adjourned.
I might ask you to send a guy down just to.
If you're injured in an accident, after you address the medical problems, you're going to be faced with numerous questions concerning who's going to pay your medical bills, your property damage, the wages that you might be losing if you can't go to work. These are things that you need counsel for.
That your income is protected, that your bills are paid, that your family's taken care of. We've been doing this since 1976. We've helped injured people. We can help you.
Davis and Davis, attorneys at law.